What's going on, Boston Celtics fans? It is time to talk about a mock draft that ESPN recently put out, and like I said, this is going to be different this year. It's actually going to be a 2-day long draft. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but nonetheless, we still got to work it. And with that being said, ESPN released a 2-day mock draft, both rounds, number 1 and number 2. And we're going to break down what they have the Boston Celtics picking, or should I say who they have the Boston Celtics picking in this draft with pick number 30 and pick number 54. In case you guys forgot, the NBA draft is June 26th and 27th this year. Like I said, 2-day draft. And if you guys are going to be joining us live, or if you want us to go live for the NBA draft, let me know by liking this video. The more thumbs up I see, the more time I get to go to my boss and say, hey, look, they want to go live. They want to hear what Smitty and Allie have to say during the NBA draft. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's go ahead and jump into the ESPN mock draft, shall we? ESPN has Boston selecting Pacome Dadiet, a shooting guard / small forward with the number 30 pick in the NBA draft. So this is one of those international players where we know only so much because he is playing currently with this French type of club. But here's what we know with his draft bio. 6'7" 3/4", 217 pounds, and he's young, man. He's 18.9 years old, which is weird to say, I know. And his club, I do not know how to say this. Ratio Farm? Ohm?
Ratio 5, probably Ratio Parm, honestly.
Probably, I apologize for just fudging up the international words. I don't know what it is, but nonetheless,
this guy seems
that is where he played.
young guy seems like more of a project. We're gonna dive in more on what he is, because let's be honest. Did any of us watch any Pacome Dadiet film over this past year? We just won a championship. I'm not focused on French talent right now, unless his name is Victor Wembanyama.
But I do want to point out that he is one of the youngest prospects in the draft. Like I said, being 18 years old right now, Dadiet will turn 19 years old on July 27th. So he's still going to be 18 next week when the draft goes on. And we're not seeing 19 until next month. So you got to really factor in that age. But I understand that with international players, it's a different type of setting that they do end up playing in. So he could definitely be more mature or advanced. Just because he's 18, I don't think you should compare that to an 18-year-old who plays in the NCAA. With that being said, let's talk about what he has done, Pacome Dadiet, with his French club that I'm not going to try to pronounce once more. But with this being said, the International League does run a little bit differently. So they play games in different type scenarios like the Euro League Cup or different type of tournaments, if you will. So when I look at a player like this right now and I see his stats, I know that he's not going to play the majority of NCAA type of schedule lengths. He plays 59 games in 2023-24. That is between different tournaments and different leagues and things like that. But when he did play through those 59 games, averaged about 7.1 points per game, nearly 3 boards. You can see him hanging off the rim there in that picture. 43% from the field, not loving that very much, but I'll take the 33% knowing he's a bigger guy here. But here's what the Ringer had to say on Pacome Dadiet on his pluses, his positives here. He's a skilled shooter off the dribble. He's comfortable pulling up from mid-range, whether it's stopping on a dime or stepping back. I like that. He's very flexible. He knows how to stop that play. If he extends his range, he could become a major scoring machine. So not necessarily on that 3-level scoring just yet. He's good shooting potential off the catch. Love that. He isn't yet a knockdown guy, but has smooth form and a soft touch on free throws and layups. Love that even more. Decisive attacker off the dribble with a good first step and the burst to turn the corner. Going on with his pluses, I like that they keep getting longer here. He's capable of finishing comfortably using either hand to touch layups or finishing the power when he has room to take off. We continue. Displays good vision for finding his teammates. Love that. Will fit perfectly with the Boston Celtics. His IQ shows when he's moving without the ball. All right, you got a good off-ball type of player. You know I hate when Celtics players stay stagnant. He has a feel for getting himself open using relocations around the perimeter and cuts to the rim. And then just once more, he'll pounce on the mistakes made by defenders. He's got that dog in him. Long-armed wing with a strong, wide frame and the upside to defend multiple positions as he matures physically. Because you guys got to think. Go ahead and think about your body back when you were 18 years old. didn't look like this, Smitty didn't look like that. So he's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. And you saw Giannis just taking another national player. He didn't have the frame that he does now when he was originally drafted. So I think if you've got the techniques and you have the foundation, you're only going to get bigger and stronger here in the NBA. And I heard a lot of positives there. And I'm thinking immediately, why not draft this guy today? But you got to go to the minuses via the ringer. Too sloppy with the ball. He makes inaccurate passes, telegraphs the ball to teammates, and lacks awareness when defenders are lurking nearby as he handles. So the good news is that we only had one thing to share when it comes to his minuses, but those minuses are going to be pretty detrimental in his transition from international to NBA. But like I said, it's going to be the exact same thing for any player, whether it's NCAA or international, making that transition. The ringer said he has shades of Michael Finley in his type of play as well. So now you kind of have a American NBA player that you can kind of start to make a relative connection to. But yet, being 18 years old, I think we have yet to see what his ceiling could possibly be. If you guys are ready for the 2024 NBA draft, I know, we just won the finals. Nobody wants to think about the draft. We just want to soak it in. But you can still soak it in and get ready for the draft. Go on ahead, like this video, and let me know what you guys are feeling. And if you guys do still want to soak in the NBA Finals, well, go get your gear right now for your 2024 NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. Oh, it still feels so good to say. I'm going to say it every single day of my life. Chatsports.com/NBA champs. That is how you guys are going to get this shirt. And that link will also take you to the Fanatics website, which has plenty of other championship gear that you guys can get. If you guys are more of a ball cap type of person, you got the sweatshirt. I know Boston gets colder, a lot easier than it does in Texas where we are. You guys have sweatpants, shorts, t-shirts, long sleeves, the whole nine. Just get your championship gear, man. This may not happen for the next 16 years. I doubt it. But just in case, be sure to get your 2024 NBA champions gear at chatsports.com/NBA champs. All right, ESPN has Boston selecting Antonio Reeves, the shooting guard from Kentucky, with the number 52 pick in the draft. That's actually going to be pick number 54. Ignore me. But here is what the Celtics do have him taking here. Reeves' bio, 6'5.5". He's 187 pounds, 23 years old, and his wingspan is 6'8". Smith, what do you know so far about Reeves?
Reeves, he's an off-the-dribble bucket getter. Started his career at Providence, and since he took that next leap to the Power 5 level at Kentucky, I argue Providence might have been better than Kentucky this year, but Antonio Reeves is a guy who goes out there and gets buckets. You saw him go shot for shot there in the round of 64 after in Kentucky's loss to Jack Golke in Oakland. Reeves was basically getting it from wherever he wanted to, whether it be the corner, top of the key, the wing, in the mid-range, at the rack. Antonio Reeves gets buckets. The reason they have him slotted as a late second-round pick, because I think he's one of the best off-the-dribble scorers in this class, is that he is 23 years old. He is a little bit older, but honestly, for a Celtics team that needs just late rotation pieces as this team gets more and more expensive and players are going to be more difficult to acquire via free agency and trades, Antonio Reeves is a guy who's ready to play right now, ready to put the ball in the cup, and he could do it at a high level.
And you love to hear that, man, because like I said, the Celtics are in a position where they don't need a starter. You're not looking for your next Tatum. You're really looking at the next person that can kind of help you win banner 19, which sounds really weird to say now, but
I mean, look at what he was doing.
Absolutely. Go on ahead, Smith.
I mean, 20 points a game, over 50% clip, and the guy's 6'5". He's not 7'5", putting it right at the basket every time. 45% free throw shooter. Are you out of your mind? This guy was he could score from literally anywhere on the court. I loved what I saw from Antonio Reeves this year. He was kind of aside from Reed Shepherd, the guy who held this Kentucky team above water, the guy who earned this team a 3 seed. He was their number one scoring option, no doubt about it. And he continued that in the NCAA tournament. It's just the small fact of the matter is he didn't play any defense. He didn't play a lick of defense. The Kentucky team didn't play a lick of defense, and that showed because they lost to a 14 seed from the Horizon League.
Let's hear what Sports Illustrated had to say about Antonio Reeves' pluses. Reeves is an elite shooter off the catch as he can really allow his teammates more space to operate with and has great shot preparation. He's an extremely reliable shooter from beyond the arc. Like you saw, 45%, 45% from downtown, which should almost certainly translate at the next level. He can create off the dribble as he has a smooth handle, which allows him to get into a step-back jumper or get to the rim where he excels with the floater in the lane. Love a good floater. He arguably has the best touch in the entire draft, but it's not talked about enough due to him being so much older than the vast majority of other prospects. It's exactly what Smitty had just said.
I know, Ball.
The reason why I'm a little intrigued here to see where Antonio Reeves could fit in is that they're kind of already set at that shooting guard position. You know, you got your Sam Hausers, you're going to have your Derek Whites in there, and so it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Reeves is going to do if he does get drafted, where he'll fit in on this depth chart. Obviously not going to be a starter. He's going to have to earn his minutes. I could see him probably sitting in there at the 3 spot in that depth chart of the shooting guard position. Smith, sound like you want to say something?
No, I was just thinking, I mean, yeah, they could use more depth there. I mean, they could use more scoring. This guy, he obviously needs to improve as a defender, but I think like what you said works. Like, yeah, you have a plethora of guards there in the back.
Not a bad thing.
So it's not a bad thing. You could always have more scoring, especially when they went with a guy like Jordan Walsh last year, who's more of a defensive anchor at the wing position. This is a guy who can complement that with a scoring punch.
Well, he's also not perfect, obviously. Here are some minuses from Sports Illustrated on Antonio Reeves' game, saying the Kentucky prospect needs to prove he can do more than score, flashing upside as a passer specifically. It's not uncommon for Kentucky guards to not get a chance to show that until the NBA level because, you know, they're just completely stacked with all types of talent. But even then, he wasn't a big assist guy at Illinois State either. He needs to prove to teams that he can be effective in guard multiple positions because guess what, Antonio? This is the NBA. Everybody can score in the NBA. I mean, you can see Jordan Walsh has scored in the NBA. So when you have a player like Antonio Reeves, he's going to have to start really using other assets here to really make him shine. And Sports Illustrated gave an Alec Burks type of prospect pro comparison here, which, like you said, I'm not mad at this comparison at all either. I think that once he starts to really factor in that facilitating and factor in that orchestrating that can come with the assists and start moving that ball around, I think you could be getting a pretty good ball handler here to go on your depth chart at that guard position. So overall, to have those 2 picks, I mean, obviously being successful, I'm going to take that in the playoffs, and being NBA champs going to put you towards the back end of the draft. But this is what ESPN sees Boston Celtics taking at pick number 30 and pick number 54. So with that being said,
I just want to correct myself real quick. I don't know why. I was thinking of Bryce Hopkins from Providence who transferred to Kentucky. Antonio Reeves, an Illinois State guy. I'm a clown. That's right hand up. That's Smitty being wrong right there.
That's very rare that he'll admit that. So there you go.
About college basketball, I will rarely admit that.
We're breaking barriers.
I have to make that correction real quick before we finish.
Please don't unsubscribe because Smitty messed up. Please. All right, here is the rundown once more. Celtics ESPN mock draft. Pacome Dadiet, pick number 30, and pick number 54, Antonio Reeves. I want you guys to grade this mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. Go on ahead, give me your grades ahead of next week's draft on Wednesday. I'm going to give my grade as a C. Why? Just because I think the Boston Celtics don't need too much here, and I am seeing that Antonio Reeves does look like a very good late draft pick, late second-round draft pick, and you have Pacome Dadiet. It's just a little bit hard. The reason why I didn't give this a B is because it's hard when you have an international player and you just like physically haven't been able to see this player just yet. So once I find more highlights of Pacome Dadiet, I'll definitely take this grade up. But I know Brad Stevens is one of the smartest men alive. At least that's what I've crowned him. So I ended up giving this a C just because I would like to see a little bit bigger depth being added to the Boston Celtics here, not knowing the future of Al Horford just yet. Kristaps Porzingis we saw with the injury, and then he kind of fell off there playing a lot of Tillman and Luke Cornett minutes in the playoffs. I would like to see a bigger guy potentially somewhere in that draft, which is why I wasn't a big fan of getting a guard like Antonio Reeves, but I do agree a shooting guard position could be very helpful in terms of depth. So I'm going to give it a C overall, but I'm not mad at it. Hey, C's get degrees. All right, go on ahead and like this video for me if you guys have not already. If you love the Boston Celtics, if you guys are glad they're NBA champions, and if you're excited for the NBA draft, hit that thumbs up button for me.